I'm Adam Niffen.
No, I'm Jeremy Cocaine.
This is Smith Welding Restoration. Nothing to add to that?
Well, it's where we work. It's what we do. We make things pretty.
Alright, so we're back here on the HD 2500. I'm going to mount you up to El Tripado. Let me show you kind of where I left it Friday. Boom. There we go. The other side over there, I bet it took me 3.5, 4 hours just to get to this point. Maybe longer. So, that took me from the point I had the cutout and it cleaned up. I had to cut out this rust down here. I had to find where my rust stopped here and cut this back. Cut out the piece of metal, shaped it, and welded it in. That took me about an hour on Friday. So it just goes to reason. Repetition definitely is a virtue. What I'm showing you right there is the second wheelhouse patch panel I built. First one's on the other fucking side. I never successfully got any wheel arches or anything built. I didn't understand how the parts come together. Gosh, I wish I could go out to Lazé, get his equipment bundle and his classes, because it's just amazing what they do. I use the shrinker stretcher, flat piece of steel. You know, we start off with something like this. This is actually cut out from this here. Okay. This interior arch is actually traced from the piece of steel that goes on the bed of the truck. I took and I marked about, I don't know, I'd call that 7/8, 3/4, 7/8 of an inch. The one oopsie on this is actually for the metal right here stretching it. I had to get it straight again. Now I formed this arch, and see that technically was right here. So when I folded this over, it actually, instead of landing in the middle like it's supposed to, it shifted everything over that 7/8 of an inch. I took a hand seamer and I actually bent the flat part of this and hand seamed it back to 90. I didn't have the fortunes to be able to do it with this part because it's radiused. But now it fits in there nice and tight. I got good clearances. It's not too tall. It's not going to stick out past the lip, so I won't have to clean it up. Now when I didn't mark, I may have to trim it back. I don't know yet. So what happens here is we're actually hanging down. This is only supposed to go to right here. That's where it's supposed to end. But because you've been that radius in there, now if I had went in trace and added that inch, it would have landed perfectly. For my purposes, when I split this, I didn't want that. I wanted that radius to be bigger so I could at least butt it, if not lap it here, and it come all the way down. And I'll show you why. My patch panel that I traced, it ends right here. I need that arch to come down here. I may not have enough. I may have to piece in a small piece of metal down here. That's not that dramatic of a bad deal, okay? When I'm doing all this, of course, when I'm doing all this, I'm wearing gloves. I got a good pair of just work gloves, thick enough work gloves. Got some holes in them, they wore out, but I got work gloves that I use. These are not the greatest for welding. That's what I've been using for welding. You can see where it just burns right through that neoprene. I'll get an ember that goes in there and comes down. That actually is where, oh shit, my nephew was cutting something apart. If he didn't have that glove there, he would have taken part of his hand off. Tip of his finger at least. So that's where we're at. My next step is I've got to draw on here. See, this is pretty much a flat spot. I got to draw on here this line. I draw that line on, then I take it to the Planisher and I run it through there and I try to leave this as the flat spot and curl all that over. So at the very least I have minimal hammer and dolly work. I get it to fit. We'll put the patch panel, we'll clamp this in place, put the patch panel on. If that doesn't work out that way, we'll put the patch panel on. You know, the top and this front, this back side, leave this side kind of flopping. That puts the patch panel in location where it needs to be. And I can slide this up in there and maneuver it around, clamp it, take the patch panel off, observe what I've got going on. It's a lot of guess and check. I know there's math involved that I can just nail this and be done. I don't know the math. I don't have the equipment to utilize the math appropriately. So with fabrication there comes a certain art beyond skill. Okay, let me see. I showed you this side all welded up, ready to go. We lost some footage. Now, I showed you the underneath last time, some footage. Then you can see the bead I ran, and you can see the lap. That lap right there, it's all hammered nice and tight. I mean, you can see where it's indenting in. It's hammered nice and tight. Before I undercoat this, I'm gonna seam seal that seam. I don't want that seam exposed where it can open up over time through stress and muck getting in there, and you know, the expansion contraction of steel, how it works. I'm not going to weld that. That's just double redundant and silly. It'll waste another 45 minutes of my time. I don't need to. But I'm going to seam seal that so it'll provide a little more longevity where it keeps that gap together and sealed so shit's not getting up in there and rotting it out. Alright. Let me see. Shop hours are 9 to 5. It's about 8:30 now. I've been here since 8. We pulled in the driveway right as my 8 o'clock alarm went off. My partner Jeremy will be here shortly, and he abhors the Planisher because it's so damn loud. I don't mean loud, I mean fucking loud. I'm gonna try to knock this Planishing out before he gets back. Let's get set up. Clear notion of where I need to stop Planishing at. Running this, run it straight through like this. Put all your pressure down. Run it straight through like this. Put all your pressure down. You can start putting pressure this way. It's going to bend this whole piece over that anvil. You don't want to bend it this way. We took great time and care to get that line straight. It'll tweak it a little bit and we can maneuver it back with the shrinker later if we need to. See where I tore it? It's got a little kink right there. We'll work that out later. I mean, it's a little more radius there than we need it. That's alright. That'll volley out. See how it's a little tweaked? All I gotta do is twist that right here with my thumb tap, basically, and bring that tweak out. So that really is it. I mean, I can dolly that out right now, but I'd rather just get it on the truck and hammer and dolly it on the truck. Should give me enough. That should give me enough of a tail to get down in there. Lap that. In short, that's how you run that Planisher. Through part of the forming, I'm running a 1-inch anvil on it right now. 1-inch radius anvil, which is the tightest curve. It's gonna smash that metal and stretch it and push it the most quickly. Mind you, causes the most destruction. Wow, made it in a video. Thanks for checking in. Come back on the next one. See what the hell we're doing next time. Subscribe, comment. Find us on over on the old Facebook, Smith Welding Restoration LLC on Facebook. Numbers at the beginning. If you have any questions, call.